There is a story, over 1,000 years old, from one of the most prominent and widely followed religions on earth. And in that religion, dogs are considered ritually impure. You cannot pray if a dog has touched you. In many interpretations, keeping a dog inside your home is discouraged. Dogs, in this tradition, occupy a complicated space. And yet, right there, in the middle of their most sacred scripture, a scripture so beloved that millions of people across the world have memorized it, word for word from beginning to end, is one of the most breathtaking stories of dog loyalty ever recorded in human history. Not written by a dog lover, not written by a pet blogger, written in a holy book. And nobody talks about it. Until today. Welcome to Paws Decoded, and I promise you by the end of this video, you will never look at your dog the same way again. This channel is built on science, dog psychology, cat behavior, peer-reviewed studies, cold hard facts about why your cat knocks things off tables and why your dog loses its mind when you pick up your keys. That is what we do here. But I came across this story a few months ago and I genuinely could not stop thinking about it. Because sometimes, not always, but sometimes, an ancient story captures something about animals that no study has ever managed to put into words. This is one of those stories. So today we are doing something different on Paws Decoded. We are going historical. We are going ancient. And we are going to sit with a story that has survived over 1,000 years, because on some level, every human who ever heard it understood that it was true. Let's go. Picture this: a group of young men, righteous men, men who believed in God deeply, sincerely, at a time and in a place where that belief put them in serious danger. We do not know exactly how many of them there were. The scripture itself says the number was debated among people, which honestly makes it feel more real, not less. These young men lived in a city ruled by a powerful authoritarian leader who did not share their beliefs. And in that city, believing what they believed was not just unpopular. It was dangerous. So they made a decision that throughout history every persecuted group eventually makes. They ran. And when they ran, their dog ran with them. From the very beginning, from the moment they left. The dog was there. Not trained to follow, not commanded to come. The dog just went where they went. Because that is what dogs do. They fled into the mountains. They found a cave. They walked inside together, the young men and their dog, and they prayed. And then they fell asleep. Now here is where the story becomes something else entirely. They did not wake up the next morning. They did not wake up the next week. According to the scripture, and this number is stated explicitly, preserved exactly across centuries of memorization, they slept for 309 years. God had put them to sleep, miraculously, completely, as an act of divine protection. The world outside that cave completely transformed. Generations were born and died. Empires rose and crumbled. The very city they had fled from became unrecognizable. And inside that cave, they looked exactly as they had the day they entered. When they finally woke, they thought they had napped for maybe a day. One of them was sent into town to buy food with coins from 3 centuries ago, and when the shopkeeper looked at those coins, the news spread across the entire city. These men had become living proof of something beyond ordinary human understanding. And the story spread. And it was retold. And it was written down. And it has been recited, memorized, word for word, by millions of people continuously for well over 1,000 years. But here is the part that most people skip over when they tell this story. Through all of it, through every single one of those 309 years, the dog did not leave. The scripture mentions it almost as a passing detail, like the writer assumed you already knew dogs would be there. At the entrance of the cave, The dog lay with its paws stretched out, waiting, guarding, for 300 years. No one asked the dog to stay, no one commanded it. The dog simply did not leave its people, and I have been sitting with that image for months. A dog. Paws stretched forward. Cave entrance. Faithful beyond any measure of time we can even comprehend. That image was preserved, deliberately, in one of the most memorized, most recited, most sacred texts in human history, in a tradition that, in many of its practices, keeps dogs at arm's length. And yet, the dog is in the story. Because whoever wrote it down knew the story was not complete without the dog. Here is what I keep coming back to. This story was not written to be a dog story. The dog is almost incidental to the main narrative. And yet, across centuries of retelling, across translations, across cultures, across millions of human memories, the dog stayed in the story. Nobody edited it out. Nobody said, well, it is not really relevant. Generations of scholars, scribes, storytellers, and memorizers, every single one of them kept the dog in. Because on some level, every human who ever heard this story understood, of course there was a dog. There is always a dog. And what does that tell us about the relationship between humans and dogs? It tells us that this bond, this specific, quietly extraordinary bond, is not a modern invention. It is not something we created by breeding labradoodles and buying memory foam dog beds. It has been with us so long that it found its way into our oldest stories, our holy books, our myths, because at some point in human history, long, long ago, a dog made the same choice as the dog in that cave. It stayed, and we never forgot it. We literally wrote it into our religions. Today was for the dogs, for the one in the cave, for the one in my hallway, for the one at your feet right now, for the one you are missing, for the one you have not met yet. They do not understand why we leave. They just know they will be there when we come back. And apparently, they always have been. If this video made you feel something, that is everything I make this channel for. Drop a comment. Tell me about your dog. Tell me the moment you knew they were yours. Subscribe to Paws Decoded if you are new. We cover animal psychology, behavior science, and apparently, ancient history now. I will see you in the next one. Go hug your dog.